Hello, hello, this is Ivanovsky.
And this is Kleistron.
And we are bringing you a game today, a ZvP on Daybreak.
Between the red Protoss dtGNalZa and the pink Zerg FGSonata. So, this is a tournament map. Might be in the ladder pool next season.
I hope not, personally. I don't care for this map very much. It's a little bit too serpentine. It's just nothing but these kind of strange, choked off, narrow paths running all across just a sillily shaped map. We're going to see Protoss do a Forge Fast Expand here because it's, basically free. Look at this pylon he has going up here. He's going to be able to build an entire wall off of one pylon.
Now,
it's just...
Yeah, the reason you don't like this map is because it's a macro map, and you don't really like games that go too long, do you?
Well, there's no reason to have a I mean, there are enough macro games being played on not macro maps. Like, you don't need a map that just insists upon itself.
I don't know. I think it's a fairly well balanced map. You can do some
And
cheeses.
here in the PvZ matchup, we do have the most economic race, so to speak. Zerg having to throw down his spawning pool first to avoid getting cannon rushed at the Nat. So pretty standard here.
We have Forge first instead of Nexus first from our Protoss player.
Playing it a little bit safe, probably in response to scouting the spawning pool. And we have a probe that's
being
really
very
just
annoying,
trying to piss some drones off. I mean, if I were a probe, which in my opinion is one of... Okay, so the shields can heal, but overall I think drones, or probes rather, are one of the weakest harvesters in battle. I would not be poking at that big mass of drones. That just seems unhealthy. 6 Zerglings on the way for FGSonata.
That's just going to be to, clean out this probe, make sure that he doesn't drop any pylons or anything like that, and to send a couple over to scout.
I personally thought that 4 Zerglings was a bit more standard. This is possibly a bit excessive. He's going to have to go scout with these and poke a little bit, but with that photon cannon coming up, hard to say what they're going to be able to do. Meanwhile, we do have Zerg getting his hatch down. Has he scouted? He has not scouted.
His
the Forge
Overlord
Fast
is moving
yet.
in, but I mean, he can
probably almost there.
He's probably assuming that it's a Forge Fast Expand.
At this point, you should assume that it's a Forge Fast Expand up until taking your hatchery. But once you see the Forge Fast Expand,
he's not going to get in. He's got to run away and loses 2 Zerglings to that photon cannon.
And now that you see the Forge Fast Expand, it's a fairly common play is to just chuck down your Fast Third, and there it goes.
There it goes.
Now that Fast Third, pretty much required if you're, as Josh said, going to be going into a macro game on this macro map. Anything 2-base versus 2-base in PvZ would be considered more or less an all-in for the Zerg.
Yes. Now that gateway was canceled. Favor of a cyber core. There is a hole in that wall, and the Zerglings
Zerglings are going to try to take advantage of that. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to do. I guess they'll be able to stop.
They'll be able to scout,
but they're not going to be able to make it up into the main without running past that cannon again.
2 probe killed.
Oh, beautiful probe kills for Sonata. Excellent Zergling control. NalZa really just needs to not realize that he should not be sending probes down there until he has a zealot to clean this up. And those Zerglings. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say that building the 6 Zerglings instead of the 4 has paid for itself.
Yep.
And he's going to try to run up into the base. He is going to get up there. There's not enough health on those Zerglings to do much more harassment, but they are going to get a full scout of the main, which at this point shouldn't really have very much in it.
Yeah, he might be able to keep them alive long enough. He might be able to keep them alive long enough to, see what kind of tech goes down. He does see 2 gas.
I think 2 gas probably means that you're not going to have a large number of zealots pumped out early on.
He did not see +1 researching on that Forge. We have a probe moving out across the map, probably going to try to scout for this 3rd, and probably drop down a pylon. It tends to be a very good idea to drop pylons with your probes.
And he is keeping these Zerglings alive for a long time, so they might be able to scout some higher tech, but we do see that Sonata is just droning up. He sees these 2 gas. He knows that, 2 gas means the Protoss probably going to be pushing out around the 8.5 to 9 minute mark at the earliest. And so here we go.
Oh, it looks like there was a little bit of a pause. All right. So he didn't see any of the tech, and NalZa may have actually delayed some of his tech just so that he wouldn't be able to see it. Oh, and we have 2 pylons going down. We have some Zerglings looking for the pylons. This is always, you have to do this. This is a very good idea to do as Protoss, is to put pylons down, and then as Zerg, you need to be looking around all over the map for those pylons. Because
that's right, because with the number of gateways that Protoss is going to have, he can just shift a warp-in round of Zealots down to one of those pylons and run it at this third, and suddenly Zerg loses a huge chunk of his economy. Even if he runs the drones away, he's still missing out on mining time, and that is big.
And these Zealots are going to have +1, which means that they can come over here and they can kill off that hatchery.
+1 Zealots absolutely terrifying versus unupgraded Lings, because it takes the number of hits to kill a Ling from 3 to 2.
It only takes 2 hits for a +1 Zealot to kill Ling. You need roaches in order to fight.
But due to these fast assimilators, we aren't going to see that many Zealots, so it's not too bleak for our Zerg.
Oh, and he's going to come down here and see the warp in.
The other pylon and the big number of Zealots coming in.
But there are some roaches out and a spine, and I think Sonata's going to be fine. Yep.
Yeah, I think Sonata should be able to hold this. We do see an aggressive pylon trying to go down on creep. Not going to work. And I think Sonata should be okay. We're going to see a little bit of force field action.
And he killed the probe.
But I don't think that's going to be enough.
He killed the probe so that he knows there's not going to be any new pylons going down.
1 sentry goes down to this aggression, and overall, I would say Protoss needs to be making a little bit more happen here. He does have a lot of harvesters, so he's not out of this game, but
no.
And we are chucking down a Twilight Council and big gateways.
It's like he's probably going to go into charge lots. Maybe add on High Templars and just go, charge lot Archon, trying to take his third.
I think charge would be a good idea. I think it's a little bit late for Blink.
Actually, he may be going for Blink.
I think the armies are going to be too big by the time Blink would finish for you to really, Blink, it all depends. At this level, you could have a player micro a lot of Blink Stalkers effectively, but there is a limit to what people can do.
Meanwhile, we have Sonata. He saw that the third was going down, and this push right here is just to deny that third. And as a Zerg player, once that third gets up for Protoss, it starts to get very difficult as Zerg to...
we have slow roaches off creep. They should not be able to run away.
But there's holes in those force
field placement blocks off the Protoss from chasing.
Yep. Looks like it's going to be Blink, not charge.
I don't care for that. I don't think that's going to work too well. Another thing I don't care for is the Protoss armor upgrade. I know, I should not be... These are very excellent players that we're casting here today, and I should not be finding fault with them. But in general, I guess he had to get Protoss armor because his Twilight was delayed, and he couldn't just go straight into +2 attack. But, really, for Blink, I think you want the faster Twilight and the faster +2 with no armor. That is a lot of roaches. They cannot run up that ramp into sentries, though, and it does not look like Sonata's going to make... any big mistakes here. He's poking. He's scaring me.
And the third was forced to cancel. And we have a fourth going down for Sonata.
Excellent. Zerg is in a good position here.
And right now, he's just focusing on denying that third, keeping that third from going up, because with the way that warp gates operate and the fact that there is almost zero time between investment and return, the more bases that Protoss gets up, that means the faster he can reinforce. He can reinforce so much faster. And I think he's going to force another cancel. Yep, there it goes.
And that's important. If Zerg can keep Protoss off of that third base, this gateway composition is not going to be too terribly strong.
In the production tab, we have Burrow, Roach Speed, a fourth hatchery, and a Spire on the way.
And he is going to blink forward and try to do some damage to these roaches, but Zerg can just afford to exchange a little bit in this position. He's up by a lot, And as soon as those force fields get chucked down, Zerg is safe to run away.
Looks like he's saving up a lot of money for Mutalisk as soon as this the Spire finishes.
That's right, and I mean, he doesn't have that much supply, actually, left over for Mutalisk, so only going to be able to warp 8 in, or I'm sorry, 4 in, 5 if he, chucks down some other structure and loses a drone.
77 drones out. He needs to,
at this point,
recycle some of this road supply.
Oh yeah. At this point, the trick for Zerg is to not get maxed on the wrong units, because, all these roaches are preventing him from building more effective units. So I think we are just going to see them move to the base, do as much damage as he can, and then remax on something else.
We have some Zerglings running by into the main, and we have an engagement with roaches. And these roaches are just to free up. I'm pretty sure this attack is to do some damage and mostly free up the supply.
That's right. We do see some force fields get chucked down. I mean, they make the Protoss army a bit more effective against the roaches, but this is still a costly engagement for Protoss.
16 mutas in production. Yeah,
Let's see, we do have Zerg flyer attack on the way as well. I like that. Flyer attack, absolutely essential.
That attack was nowhere near cost efficient for the Zerg player, but he's up on a base. He has a base up. He's up in harvesters, and that freed up supply for his mutas. I think that he probably could have gone about recycling that supply slightly more efficiently, maybe with drops or something.
Zerg can't exactly have a fully cost-effective engagement at this point because he's up on harvesters, and so his army will always get capped smaller than the Protoss army.
I mean, you can try to engage in.
And speaking of being up on harvesters, big Mutalisk play in the main, taking down a ton of probes.
28, 29, 31.
At this point, he's going to back out with the Mutalisks before the Stalkers can do too much damage. There is a number of Mutalisks where you can just go ahead and A-move the Stalkers, but we are not there yet.
No. He still needs a lot more mutas.
Third base, but the probe damage has been done. Zerg at this point can't let him keep that third base. If it fully saturates with probes, but if Protoss is only gonna have 40 harvesters and Zerg can keep the pressure on, he's just fine.
This is another incredibly smart play by our Zerg player, using the mutas to draw all the forces up to the top, meanwhile running in Zerglings into the main. Just splitting up the army, and Protoss has his entire army in one hotkey. And he has a very narrow pathway, serpentine pathway into his main, meaning it's going to be very hard for him to, bounce back and forth.
That's right. I think that was one of the biggest impacts back a number of patches ago now when they lowered pylon radius to help deal with 4-gate, the prevalence of 4-gate in Protoss play. I think really not enough people talk about the impact to the Protoss SimCity of that. There's just not very much room between Protoss buildings and a base all cluttered up with pylons anymore. Protoss can get trapped in his own base very easily. Look at these units at the
However,
map.
this is...
Look at this Congo line of crap trying to filter out.
And I don't know why he has the Zealots on the hotkey with the Stalkers.
They are getting in the way. It's not helping.
Yes.
And at this point, to speak of splitting the Protoss army, we're getting close to the number of Mutalisks where you can just A-move that many Stalkers. Oh, but we do have the High Templar out on the field. The Mutas are going to have to be a little bit careful of that. But... Oh, the High Templar get picked out. Very nice. But yeah, look at this. These Mutas can safely engage these Stalkers, and if it's just half of them, actually the Mutas are not
these Stalkers have +3 attack versus the +1 attack in the Muta. But there's a lot of Zerglings trying to run in, but there are Zealots in the way.
Again, when you're Zerg on 4 bases, I'm not so sure you're too concerned with being that cost efficient.
No.
I mean, units lost, sure, Zerg has 50% more units lost, but does that really matter?
No. Not when you...
Not as long as this Protoss is on 45 harvesters.
Not when you have almost double the harvesters and you're up a base. You have almost double the income.
And meanwhile, Protoss is just about mined out in his main. He's going to need to transfer those probes. That'll help get his mineral income back up when he does that. There it goes.
Storms!
Storms go off, turning the Mutalisks orange, but they still do just as much DPS that way. And he is going to have to back off, though, once other units show up.
But I still don't like that he's got all of these zealots on the same hotkey as the stalkers. It really slows down his response time.
That's right, and he should be trying to creatively use the blank to help him navigate around in his base. Mutalisks are going to have to back up and let themselves heal up a little bit after those storms. Meanwhile, we are just going to bounce right back into the third. There's some more storms here, though. He's going to have to be careful.
Muta's moving in.
Some well-placed storms can do a ton of damage.
A lot of those Mutas are now in the orange and the red.
And this is the part of playing Zerg where I usually thank myself for having bad inject, because I can just go home and heal them.
We have a 5th and a 6th base coming up for FGSonata. The 3rd base is up and running, but the main is pretty much mined out, so... And that's going to be enough Mutas.
FGSonata doing an amazing job. We've got double-digit larvae across 6 hatcheries. I love that larva count. That's just going to enable him to remax instantly. Josh, do you see what I see?
I see a bunch of overlords.
No,
I see a dark shrine.
The unit that just got added to the Zerg composition.
The Ultralisk Cavern?
Nope. Middle of the map.
Banelings!
Yeah,
oh, Banelings!
Oh, what a joy.
And also, what do you do when you're behind as Protoss, Roberts?
Build a dark shrine.
Yes, correct.
Where is he building a dark shrine?
It is natural.
There. Oh, very nice. But you know what counters? You know what counters?
DTs.
DTs even without detection.
Banelings. Banelings do fairly well against DTs. And I mean, like, at this point, Sonata just needs to be supply efficient, not cost efficient. Banelings are one of the most supply efficient units in the game. They are one of the least cost efficient units in the game, depending on what they're attacking.
He doesn't have that much gas. He's taking a 5th base now, and
oh yeah, he's got that's a high yield extractor, I believe. Yes, these are rich Vespian geysers. The one in the middle is a rich Vespian geyser that only has one geyser.
Rich Vespian geyser?
Yes.
Who knew? Now that's something, if this map were to get picked to enter the ladder pool, I wonder if that...
I think that would leave. Blizzard likes to keep them standard. The base is like the exact same size. So it looks like...
Oh! But there's an observer!
There's an observer right there!
Oh, beautiful observer placement.
NalZa is maxed. He's maxed only on 3 bases, so he has very limited, reinforcement capabilities, remaxing capabilities.
Yes, and why there's a warp prism running out across the map when you're maxed is a bit confusing to me.
I would like to see Sonata, well, probably to drop DTs, because +3 DTs will kill his hatchery in about 10 seconds.
Well, but he can only cast...
Whoa!
Oh! Poor Baneling explosion.
Although these Zerglings and Banelings don't exactly have great upgrades.
Nor are they all that good versus Storm.
I would also like to see some sentries.
Comment, we really don't have any sentries, which is going to make the Banelings quite effective. But Storm, doing 80 damage over 4 seconds, kills Banelings in a second and a half.
Yes. I would like to see Sonata dropping down more spine, like at least 1 spine and spore at every base. There's 2 spines and spore up here. That's pretty good. In fact,
he certainly has the minerals for it.
Yes, it might not be a bad idea to drop 2 spores and a spine at every base, and maybe even put an overseer above every base. Because DTs can kill, +3 DTs can kill bases remarkably quickly.
Oh yeah, my preference is usually for the overseer because the DTs can't attack it.
Yes.
Here comes
we have a bunch of DTs
push.
moving
Oh, and
out.
there's the storm. Damaged Banelings. Is scary, but
we see
we have an
4
Ultralisk
DTs
on the field, and that's a Stalker Ball.
Look how quickly these DTs are going to kill this hatchery. That is, if he just targets... There we go. Swish! Swish! Switch.
Oh no, and the Ultralisk Cavern is down there.
Yes. Oh no, it's now off creep. Yeah, those DTs kill hatcheries incredibly quickly. And there we go. That's plenty of spines and spores. Yep. His DTs do 60 damage.
I was about to say we have Broodlords coming in, but that's just 6 Overseers.
Yes. Because now, well, I mean, he has Banelings, so I was going to say he could play Snipe the Overseer game.
At this point in the game, Overseers are excellent detection. I dare say better than Observers, because they just don't cost supply, and you can just spam them all over the map.
Yeah, but I mean, they are much bigger targets.
Oh, and it's a big target, but
and they're a bit easier to target down and snipe than Observers are. And they have energy, so you can feed back them.
Observers out on this map.
You can just feed back the Overseers.
I think we're about to see a big engagement here.
Yeah, that is
Zerg
a
is
lot of
pulling
mutas.
forward. At this point, Zerg has decided he doesn't care. Damn the storms.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that's
a lot of red mutas.
a lot of red mutas. How long does it take a Mutalisk to heal from 15 HP?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. It's a lot of larvae that are about to die. But it's okay, he has 87 larvae on the field.
Yeah, I absolutely love this Zerg's larva. He is not going to allow Larva Block to lose him this game.
I would like to see him keep getting upgrades. He still only has +2 upgrade. Does he have Adrenal Gland? Yes, he does. Adrenal Gland.
He's 3-2.
Yes, but I mean, he's not researching +3 carapace, or yeah, +3 carapace.
The Mutalisks could use slightly better upgrades.
Yeah, he could also start getting
the real meat of this army right now.
He could also start picking up ranged upgrades so that he can remax on roaches or hydras.
Archons are pretty good against the Zerg composition,
Yeah.
though. Not that there's anything Zerg can really make that Archons are not good against.
Roaches are pretty good against Archons.
That's true, but at this phase of the game, I mean, you're talking supply efficiency.
Broodlords. Broodlords
Oh,
are
and here comes another big push from the Zerg, catching the Protoss a little bit out of position. The storms go
Fungal's
down.
going down, Infested Terran, Ultralisk moving in and getting completely owned.
But the Protoss is going to lose that base, and he is... That might have been the Zerg's goal. Protoss is pretty much mined out. Even just killing the 400 minerals of that base. I'm not so sure that I care for the Protoss taking this base. It doesn't have as many mineral patches, and that's what he is very soon going to need, desperately.
Yeah. There is... Looks like we have a lot more Zerglings coming in. I don't know if I like the Zerglings.
Well, he does have a ton of gas, so...
Yeah. And he doesn't have that many minerals. I mean, I'd love to see Broodlords, but there is no Greater Spire yet.
Oh, this is a scary 3-1-3 Protoss death ball.
We have some Infestors going down and infested Terran bombing.
And Zerglings pushing forward.
I think they might be able to actually deny that. No, they are not.
Oh, they could run around there and do some damage to the actual mining base.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're just going to opt to come up here. And the Zerg army is vastly down on supply. In the income tab,
he only has 28 harvesters.
Got a little bit overzealous with those spine crawlers, I think, and just lost a lot of his harvesters, really, to just building buildings.
Yeah. It's actually not very...
At this point, he needs to pull off of his gas geysers and start mining minerals again. He's got, what, 3 saturated gas geysers? 4? Some drones idling outside of 1 gas geyser that mined out. Actually, a fair number of idle drones on the field, but
Yeah, maybe try to retake this fourth down here?
He can't. I mean, he has bases with minerals. It's just more a matter of
Yeah.
saturate.
Looks like he's gonna try to come in here to the main and maybe take out some production facilities. There is an Artosis piling up there.
Oh, throwing Zerglings into a scary Protoss death ball. At this point, Protoss really has established this tiny base in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zerg is just feeling kind of stuck at this point. He is building a lot of infestors, which could lead to some a very interesting last engagement either way.
Yeah, now his drone count is starting to get back up there. Greater Spire is on the way.
Yeah, both players' drone and probe counts took a beating.
Yeah, so we might just be able to mass up a whole bunch of Broodlords.
Protoss at this point, I'm going to guess, doesn't realize how far ahead he is in army supply, and maybe isn't that far ahead because of the benefit that these infestors can provide.
Yeah, he has almost double the army supply.
Yeah, if Protoss just A-moved one of these bases, I'm not sure Zerg would be able to pull it off.
I mean, like, this choke area, I think, is a fairly decent place for the Zerg to engage with all of the infestors.
Absolutely. All the chokes on this map are infestor friendly.
Because Archons don't have that great of range. Stalkers and Immortals have fairly decent range, but they're pretty fat.
And armored.
And armored.
Okay, Zerg's economy is picking back up here.
We have 11 Corruptors, so we're going to see a
Protoss,
lot of Bro Lords.
Protoss just sitting for a bit too long at 200 supply for my taste.
Yeah, I think he needed to be going and doing something. Possibly hitting this base from 2 angles. Or going down. He should move this Overseer over a little bit. Or not Overseer, Observer, so that he can see that base going back up.
He should at least be poking a bit. I mean,
Yes.
realistically, Zerg just hasn't even had to move his army for a while.
Yes.
And here come the Corruptors for Broodlords, but Protoss is starting to get a little bit pokey. I'm not sure that the Broodlords are going to be able to hatch in time.
We have 6 Broodlords in production.
Protoss needs to go now or never.
So that's going to be an excellent place to engage with the Broodlords. Oh, but he's running around.
Now, come on, Protoss, attack.
Come on. You can
Don't try to be coy and efficient with that smoke. You just need to go. You just need to go.
The Broodlords are done. Immortals versus Spine Crawlers.
Come on, you've got huge numbers of Immortals. Oh, there was such an opportunity wasted there. And here come the Broodlords.
Alright, I think we're going to see a big engagement here soon.
That's right, and without any long-range anti-air, those Broodlords are going to provide huge bonus units.
I mean, they do have +1 attack. Oh, massive volume.
It's the Broodlings. It's the 3/2 Broodlings that scare me at the moment.
Needs to be very careful with these Broodlords and not
That's right. He
let
needs
them
to not clump and get stormed or worse, Archoned.
There's a fleet beacon building.
I had nothing to say to that.
There's a fleet beacon in production.
Oh, a missed storm.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. Big storm on all the Broodlords.
Zerg
Ow.
cannot abandon the Broodlords. Do not abandon the Broodlords. Fungals.
Fungals. Oh, no. There are still 10 Broodlords. Where are the queens? How many queens does he have? He has 4 queens.
Why you would build a fleet beacon against a Zerg that already has Corruptors?
Carriers can do okay against Broodlords. And the Corruptors will have to move over the Stalkers to attack the carriers. And over the High Templar and the Archons. Why are there Immortals going back in the main? That's weird.
There were some Ultralisks.
Oh. There's some Ultralisk harass.
Ultralisk harass, that's right.
Okay.
2 Ultralisks picking away at buildings.
16 more Corruptors on the way.
And here come the infested Terran poop. Zerg is pushing forward with the units that he can spawn on the fly. Protoss, meanwhile,
He's going to go for a base trade? I don't like how indecisive he's being. This base isn't all that important.
He could have just attacked this base for free 5-10 minutes ago, but
yeah.
All right, an interesting call. Protoss at this point should probably split his army. He knows that the Zerg army is going to be quite slow to respond, so he can afford to hit in 2 places at once.
Oh, there is a mothership on the way. That's what the fleet beacon is for. The mothership, Archon toilet.
Well, of course the mothership, but so
And
what?
If he Archon toilets the Broodlords and the Corruptors, they're all gonna die. And there's no Banelings to throw in there with them.
We're a long way away from an Archon toilet here.
Oh, but no, the Nexus is gonna pop out and immediately get vaporized by the Corruptors.
Hehehe.
Base trade.
Yeah, Protoss not being very efficient with the base trade, not splitting his units, just moving his units so that a lot in the back are unable to attack. And it looks like Zerg is going to clean up and
the
still have a
mothership
base
pops
to himself.
and is going to immediately die.
And I think at this point this Protoss just doesn't...
We have probes joining the army. He needs to start
Protoss
dropping
just
his
hasn't quite had
simulators.
the rapid decision making necessary to pull off this base trade.
Yeah, there goes a Nexus down. Keep him in the game. DT's gonna try to clean up some stuff.
Yeah, although Zerg at this point should be thinking about which of his bases he's going to defend because, you know, like you said, Protoss does have that deep nexus.
That DT has 14 kills on him.
Oh, these Immortals all have that many and more.
Yeah. 19. 22 kill Archon. 21.
And Zerg
26.
at this point needs to, you know, reposition his army and get those Broodlords into a defensive position so that he can stay in this game after the base trade.
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do now.
Protoss not going to be building anything for a long time. Zerg the same. Those supply counts, 133 out of 8 and 144 out of 42. A frighteningly even army here at the end, actually.
I don't see any drones.
I'm not... Oh, Zerg, you need to defend your base. Where's your base?
Uh-oh.
Is this really going to boil down to that Nexus
Oh,
that
no,
was
no,
built?
but they might find the Nexus. They find the probe. Oh, man.
Oh, there's no Zerg buildings left. It's
It might come down to an extractor.
Oh, the extractor.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
No. Oh, what an ending!
Oh, no!
Oh, there were drones for so long. You just needed to spam extractors all over the map. Oh no!
Oh no! And it looks like NalZa did take that game.
Ouch! I would have loved to see these armies go at it at the end too. I have no idea who would have. I have to think that the Broodlords and
Infestors
would be rather efficient, but
yeah, I think so too.
the Archons rather and High Templar are rather terrifying.
Whew. Well, that was
what an ending.
What a game! What a game! Well,
okay.